Time now for another edition of 4 Points Live, brought to you by CLTFC Fan TV, for the fans, by the fans. I'm JT, your host, along with my co-host, Lee. On tonight's show, we have podcaster extraordinaire, Vaughn, and from Southbound and Crown, and you know he's down, Mr. Michael. Tonight's Points Academy, the pitch, I hear that means the field, managers, and then open discussion. And if we can get actually work, you can actually call in, even old school radio style, and possibly get on the air. So welcome aboard. Lee, take it away.
Hey guys, how's it going? Vaughn, Michael, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Doing all right, how are y'all?
All right. So, Michael, man, you pushing out the Southbound and Crown, coming live and large the other week, and so tell us a little bit about yourself and how we can find you and all that good stuff, man.
Well, you can start off. You can find us on Twitter at Southbound Crown. Don't follow my personal account; it's pretty terrible. All the good stuff's on the main account, SBC. So our co-founder and I, Matt Burris, run that account. So we need to start signing our tweets because he's the one that got us trolled by Atlanta fans. So just want to start off with that. That wasn't me.
Yeah, if you're going to come out, right, you might as well just come out and do it for sure.
He did. He came out, guns blazing. So that was fun. So yeah, we're just a supporters group trying to find our way, and we're building our way up in South Carolina. Anybody from the Carolinas is welcome to join, but we're just trying to follow in the footsteps of Mint City and QC Royals and Queens Firm, a couple of the others that have been established a little bit longer, and hopefully we can do our area proud.
That's right, man. So you guys you're upstate South Carolina, right?
Yes, I'm in Rock Hill, so
yeah. And the calls that you guys have going, the money that you guys use for the shirts and stuff, I think that's pretty awesome. If you want to talk to that.
Yeah, so we actually had a third co-founder as part of our group in Rock Hill, and his name was Brent McCaskill, and we talk about him a lot on our Twitter feed and our website. We have a whole section dedicated to him. Unfortunately, because of a tragic occurrence on last November, he was shot and killed in a home invasion, protecting his partner's family and everything, and we really struggled with that for the longest time, trying to figure out what we were going to do, and basically we turned this into a way to honor him as best we could. So we started a GoFundMe, and it was his family's wishes and partners' wishes to use those funds to make sure that at-risk or low-income families in the York County and Lancaster area don't have to worry about registration fees or equipment fees or anything related to the youth sports leagues, because he was a coach for a lot of the youth basketball teams, and he was just really big into giving back to the community. So we're just hoping to keep up that and just honor him the best way we can. So we've almost raised $10,000, and
nice.
We mentioned it on our feed, on our website. Any sale of merchandise or anything, we don't pocket a single dime. That all goes to the cost. So we're currently working with, we're trying to work with Clover, City of Clover and Rock Hill, to start establishing scholarship funds so they can carry on his legacy. And then in probably after the summer, we'll move over to a more physical form of volunteerism in that vein. So everything we do is because of him. And, I'll plug him and every chance we get, because we can't say enough about how great a person he was.
Yeah, solid, and a true Spurs fan. So
yeah, he was. I mean, he was. It's unfortunate. We're all our group kind of formed as all three of us were Tottenham fans with South Carolina Spurs, and I'm just hoping it doesn't transfer over to Charlotte. So
we won't go. So
as long as we don't hire Mourinho.
That's right. So plug your website. How can people sign up?
So it's just southboundcrown.com. Kept it simple. Okay. Everything is on that website. Our story, Brenton's story, the store, So, we've just got our scarves in and everything, and we're excited about that. You'll find out everything we do is Eastbound and Down themed.
Yeah.
In case you couldn't figure that out from the name and the horrible teaser video I put out.
That's
Are you gonna get a Can-Am at some point, like he had in the show when he's down in Myrtle Beach?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff we can't transfer from the show over to this, but we one of our plans is to show up in the supporter section wearing a wig. So I don't know how that's gonna go, but
as long as it's not too hot.
No, and
quality wig.
It's gonna be awful unless they can install some air conditioners at BOA. It's gonna be rough, but
that's right.
Our scarf is a summer scarf, so we did account for that part.
Nice.
So Vaughn, man, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you got a couple of podcasts and you venture out onto some other ones on the sideline sort of thing. So
yeah, I'm a little bit of everywhere. I'm the host of 9607 MLS Pod. Started that with my buddy Zach Dick. We're on season 4 now, following and trying to cover the entire league, which is absolutely impossible to do as just one individual or pair. It's very challenging to watch all the games that you possibly can and talk about them. But I guess it was working because I was recruited into MLS Aces, which is another podcast that covers the entire league, and a great group of guys over there. So I just really love MLS, love talking about the league. I guess over time I've become a little bit of an expert. I consider myself pretty knowledgeable about roster rules and the nuances of the league and a little bit of history, because I've been a fan and have followed the league since '96. I was a 6-year-old in Kansas City when the KC Wiz were founded with the league. So I've been around the league a long time, know it from MLS 1.0 to 2.0 to 3.0. And I don't know if you can really count this right now as 4.0, but yeah, love MLS, eat, sleep, and breathe it.
Right on. So, so tonight, like Tally said, right, we talk about the academy a little bit, do some no turf stuffs. And then the big thing that we want to talk about is the managers, right? And, guys out there, feel free to throw in some questions, and we're going to try some little thing that's new. So we're going to try to do a giveaway tonight. So basically, in order to get that giveaway, to be considered in that giveaway, put the hashtag for the crown in the comment section, and that'll automatically enter you. So for the crown, hashtag for the crown.
That means I can enter myself, right?
You can.
That's right. Even if you're a guest on the show,
the participants can't win anything.
Yeah, you can. Why not?
Only if I get my T-shirt.
We'll get it eventually.
That's right. So, all right, Tally, man, back to you.
Yes, JT. My last name is Tally. That's old cousin Lee's calling me Tally here. So last week we went over to downtown, uptown, whatever you want to call it, Charlotte, and went to 407 South Mint somewhere. Anyways, close to the stadium. It's a newer building. Went up to the 12th floor, although we thought we were about to go to the 12th floor. It was actually only the parking deck, and we only got to the 3rd floor. But we got a nice security guard to let us in. Went up there. They got a sweet little the 2 doors that have the secondary logo on it, and then they like an open window with 2 mannequins with the kits that the academy uses. And we were let in, and they just finished putting up some new wallpaper graphics, and that was all cool. But we met with Dan Locke, the academy coach manager, and he was such a great guy, and he gave us some of his time. So I don't know if y'all have seen that episode, but it was pretty interesting to see what the academy's doing, because again, like me being a newer fan, I don't appreciate how much academies can feed and are so needed for any of the soccer clubs. And our academy is really developing well. And what I love so much about it is, we have the footprint of both Carolinas. And North and South Carolina have always been a really good place for youth soccer. I know that. And we're also leaching into Southern Virginia. And I grew up in that area, and I know that's a real hotbed for some great soccer. But, we have Lee, the under 15s and the under 17s now, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was getting confused. And then they're going to start the under 21s. And Vaughn, you might be able to help me at this point. is it because he's not college or anything? But I mean, can an 18-year-old player, if he's good enough in the academy, go straight into the MLS, or does he have to be under 21, or does it matter as far as one of the players that would be coming up through the academy?
Yeah, so a player coming up through the academy would most likely sign a homegrown player contract. And there's some different rules with the homegrown players where they don't count against the salary cap. And they can fill the supplemental roster as opposed to the senior roster. So there's some advantages to bringing a player from your academy directly into the first team. So yeah, absolutely some benefits of doing that. And it would be a separate contract. An academy player would sign a professional contract with actually the league. All of the contracts are with the league, not with the team.
Okay. But if they came up through a certain academy, that team would get them no matter what, right? Even though they're signing MLS, they would still be Charlotte FC's player.
Yeah, so through the academy, they could only sign a homegrown deal with Charlotte FC if they've played a full year in the academy.
Okay. So theoretically, a kid could play 1 year at 14 years old in KC, another year in Seattle, and another year in Charlotte because their parents, whatever, who knows. And theoretically, they could be signed as homegrown for all three of those teams if they played one complete year.
Yeah, they would have to live in that territory to basically be in that academy. So, like, for example, Jalen Lindsay, who grew up in Charlotte, he's a homegrown player for Sporting Kansas City. Well, he was recruited because there wasn't a claimed territory in North and South Carolina. So he was recruited to Sporting Kansas City and lived with a host family there and went to school and finished his high school in Kansas City and trained with the academy. And after playing for a full season, he was eligible to sign a homegrown contract with Sporting Kansas City. He would not be able to sign a homegrown contract with Charlotte FC.
And also, if you come up through the academy and then you go off to college and you play, NCAA, whatever, but you're still good enough, or maybe you finally get good enough at 21, because you would play, you could still be signed as a homegrown. It wouldn't matter what you do after you're in the academy, just as long as you could check that box that you lived in the town, you're in the academy for a year, then you would go to whatever team that was.
Yeah, I believe that expires once you declare for the MLS Super Draft. So often you'll see players that were a part of an academy that rather than enter the Super Draft, they'll sign with the team a homegrown deal just ahead of the draft. So it's kind of like the last ditch. Yes, the team wants you before entering the Super Draft. And at that point, your rights are free to be picked up by any team that drafts you. The player's rights would be transferred to whichever team drafted him at that point.
Right. Interesting. Okay. So that's something to look for before we start playing. It's like, who might we sign? Although we don't have, I guess we don't really have. Lee, do we have homegrown players that we think will be ready? No.
Not
yet.
Not the first season. No.
Yeah, not the first season. Okay.
Yeah, and to touch on that, right? I mean, Riley, he just signed that extension in regards to his loan at Birmingham City, so he's going to be in England at least until January. So,
and one other thing, just to plug the academy before we go to the next, because I remember when you're talking about Jalen Lindsay, one thing Dan was talking about, and I know the team is really pushing, is the whole host families. So, you get some of the kids are from around here, but so many of them are from Raleigh or Myrtle Beach or wherever in our footprint, but they're going to live here. They're going to be a part of this academy. So you can actually be a host family. So just go on their website and check it out. And it's a great thing, especially if you have a kid that is, already that age, or if you're just, want to help out the club. And you get 2 free tickets for each child you have in your house.
And a $500 stipend.
per month.
Yeah, per month.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, right. $500 stipend for the.
We actually considered doing it because we're right across the street, down the street from Manchester Meadows, so it'd be a quick drive to practice. So
you're just trying to save on that. Got South Carolina gas money and close to the facilities, man. God,
got to pay for those PSLs somehow. Right.
That's a whole other show. Yeah. So here's a little bit and talk about the turf or no turf, man. So I'm a traditionalist and I prefer the grass, but I understand the reason. Obviously we saw the pictures this week, right, where they're ripping it out and that sort of thing. So, tell me your thoughts there, Vaughn, on turf versus grass.
I mean, it's not ideal. I don't know that there's anything that can be done to change it at this point, unless the fans got really, really vocal about it. It's an opportunity for Tepper Sports and Entertainment to save a few dollars and save some wear and tear on the turf itself. It's definitely going to make it more challenging to get some of those international games, but it's not impossible. I know back in 2016, I was visiting Seattle, and they actually brought in a temporary grass field that they placed on top of the turf surface there. I believe the cost at that time was about $150,000, and that was to host a Gold Cup match. So depending on where the international games were to land, it's not impossible for a grass field to be temporarily put in place back at Bank of America Stadium if they want to have that big draw. It's just, ultimately, I don't love it for the safety of the players. It's not ideal, but it's not the first market in MLS that has had a turf field. It's definitely going to lead to some fast play. It's going to lead to a consistent surface in terms of being able to maintain conditions. So in those regards, I like it. But overall, I prefer grass as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading about some stuff that when the U.S. national team tried to come play, right, or I guess they were doing it was it Cincinnati maybe a few years back, and there was a big stink about it. And but it sounded like at the end of the day, they I guess they hired out the venue, right, and they just ended up playing there. I mean, Mexico, right, next couple of weeks is playing down in Atlanta, so I'm not sure how much that's going to affect us on the world stage, but for one, I'm not a big fan of it. So,
yeah, probably my biggest concern is also the ability to recruit certain players, right? There's going to be some players that just don't want to play on it. If they're rehabbing from injury, they may avoid it. We've seen this before where like Zlatan would travel to a market that had turf, and that may be the game that he gets a rest and doesn't start. And so that's maybe a deterrent as well is we'll have these bigger name players, marquee players coming to Charlotte from other markets, and they may or may not play due to the surface, and that would be a shame. So maybe a little bit of a competitive advantage. We'll have to see.
I mean, Seattle, right? Atlanta, it seems like everybody that has it has won something. So
I was about to say the NFL teams have it too, right? I mean, it's all the NFL stadiums that have it.
Yeah.
Well, some do. I know they're worried about, more injuries with the NFL players. And I guess you'd be worried about injuries with the soccer players too. But I know that's definitely a concern, that no matter how – because obviously modern turf with all the little rubber pellets and all that stuff, it's a lot different than what was in Houston 20 years ago. But nonetheless, it's, nothing like the real thing, baby. So I don't know. It just seems like – I don't know. And I know they want to use the stadium more for all sorts of stuff. So when it's a general admission for the Rolling Stones, I think it'll probably be better to have turf that we don't tear up the field. But at the same time, with modern stuff, I'm sure you could bring in some sort of grass field ready to go. But that would stink to me if you didn't get, even if it was a competitive advantage, if you didn't get to see a really good player on another team just because they were afraid they might injure themselves or for whatever reason wouldn't play on turf. That would suck.
Yeah, I think the biggest concern for me is the injuries, right? I think Caleb mentions it, right? On the turf, there's going to be more injuries for sure, or at least statistically speaking, there is. Not to say that Charlotte will have nothing but injuries, but yes.
Yeah, knock on wood. However, at least with turf, man, I don't know how long this turf they're buying, put in. You figure they're always improving the technology,
Yeah.
Maybe the latest, greatest It could be called Tepper Turf. Maybe the Tepper Turf will be something different. We'll both be fast and not as injurious.
Yeah,
And better chance of getting Keith Urban concerts or whoever it was that's supposed to come.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, all right. We'll party more. We'll party more in the stadium with turf. That'll help me feel better about it. The turf will allow more good times overall.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm not a fan of turf. I don't think anybody really is. From a maintenance standpoint, I kind of get it, but here we are, right? Playing on turf in 20.
What do they do with the lawnmowers that they have? All the nice professional lawnmowers.
Oh, the city auction them off.
Just the hell with it. Look, honey, I got a John Deere 3600 on sale.
That's right. So
that picture broke my heart, though. The picture of the grass being torn up.
Oh yeah, there's a few on Facebook if you haven't seen them. But yeah, it's we call that.
Well, supposedly when that stadium was built, that Richardson trucked in all of this dirt from different parts of all over North Carolina and South Carolina to be the Carolina foundation for. So I guess the dirt still stays, but the grass on top is gone. So I don't know. Yeah, it is kind of sad.
We wasn't sure if it was the dirt was trucked in or if it was like mailed in. Do you know for sure?
No, I went on a tour there once and they told me that. They said that truckloads of dirt came in from all these different areas. Then I was like, was it the same? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. So we know for a fact apparently that Vaughn played on turf about 2 hours ago. So
it's fact.
It's fact.
And my knees are feeling it.
I was about to say, any injuries?
Did you wrap them? Do you have like wrap knees? Like, oh, playing on turf.
Yeah. I'm in an ice bath right now. You just can't see it.
That's pretty cool. You're holding your own there for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
And you get injured more on turf just because when you go to stop or pivot or whatever, it really stops you faster. There's no give to it. Is that the kind of the thought that your knees are taking more of a hit?
I mean, the technology is developing, but yeah, I think it's higher impact. It's when you go down, you're definitely taking a different type of burn. It's plastic, basically.
Right.
It's you might not get the same type of grip with your cleats in the ground. So you may have times where you turn an ankle that you wouldn't on grass, and it just statistics show it's a little bit more dangerous to play on turf, and a lot of players really don't like it. They don't like the way that it plays. They prefer the feel of grass. And so you feel a little out of your element when you make the transition over to turf. It's just at the end of the day, facts show you'll have more injuries on the turf.
Boo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is what it is at this point. So, we got MLS in Charlotte. I guess we have to be thankful for that, right?
Yes, we're thankful for that, for sure.
That's right. So shifting gears to the managers, right? So Vaughn and I was kind of talking offline, and we came up with a list that we thought would, one, suit Charlotte, and two, kind of just out of all the speculation that's been going on and everything, we decided to go with four. So I put some polls out, and it was kind of interesting. It depended on where we were, via Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. So we never really had a clear winner. Klinsmann, which isn't a part of this list, was added on Facebook, and everybody seemed to love him, but don't think he's my man. So we're going to start off with Patrick Vieira, right? Vieira, I believe I said.
Yeah. Well, I want to, for all four of these, I want to give a little bit of context, because I think to evaluate these coaches, right? On the surface, coaches all around the world, win, lose, playing style, but how do they fit into what Charlotte FC is trying to hire, right? There have been enough interviews at this point that we have a good idea of what the team's looking for. Zoran Kernetta, he's talked about how he wants the coach to be young, ambitious, hungry, a winning coach, somebody that has achieved more with less, someone who has a proven success, a track record. They talked about having academy players that make the move up. So maybe a coach that has experience working with development players and not necessarily the guy that's going to be a big draw to try and bring superstars from Europe or from South America. That they're looking for a team and a style. They're saying that they want a coach, not a manager, right? So you need somebody who is focused on the on-field performance, who's adjusting tactics, but they ultimately fit the philosophy and playing style that the team is trying to build to. So what is that, right? I think we know that from what different people in the organization have expressed, that they want a coach that is attacking oriented, that is press oriented, that the team can hold possession. These are all key things. And I think also in the players signed, we can see Jan Soboczinski, right? Has the ability to play in a 3 or a 4-man backfield. Sergio Ruiz, he has the ability to play as a single pivot or in the double pivot. You've got Bronico, who has played in the midfield, and he's also played an outside back. So I think having a coach that has some formational flexibility and can move guys around and get the most out of those players, those are some of the things to be looking for in evaluating a manager. So I think that is important to try and how do we evaluate these specific coaches, and why are they educated guesses that they could come to Charlotte FC? And I, in our discussions, I think that it's somebody that needs to have a little bit of MLS experience or some MLS ties, just because ultimately expansion teams have done very well when they bring in a coach that has some MLS ties. The exception to the rule is probably Tata Martino for Atlanta, who was brought in. He had success. He had no ties to MLS. But if you look at Bob Bradley, even last year with Nashville, Gary Smith, and this year, Josh Wolf with Austin FC. These are all guys that have been around MLS rosters. They've been around the MLS league. They understand the nuances of the league. They understand the challenges of travel and all those sorts of things. They're familiar with the player pool. I think that is something that's very, very important in selecting a coach. So that's why I highlighted some of these specific people as opposed to just shooting in the dark at, hey, I would love to have Zinedine Zidane because, he's not currently with a squad.
That's right.
So I do have some big names on this list, and I got some smaller ones. So you wanted to talk about Patrick Vieira. So
yeah. So, obviously he's got the MLS experience, right? He's a pretty good player. Left the MLS, went over to Italy, I believe, right? Did he go to Italy? Yeah.
Well, he wasn't a player in MLS. He was the head coach for NYCFC. Yeah, for Arsenal, absolutely.
And then he came over, right, and did in New York City stuff, right, which is the connection there would be with Glick if we were trying to figure out, why that conversation would come up. But yeah, I think he did okay. It wouldn't be my first choice, but tell us what you think.
Patrick Vieira had a really good stint at NYCFC. He took over for the club in their second season. He was involved with the team through the Manchester City group during the expansion season and was brought in to replace Jason Kreis. In the first year under Vieira, NYCFC finished 4th in the overall standings, and in his second season, they finished 2nd in the Supporters' Shield race in 2017 behind TFC. So overall at NYCFC, he really did well, which is why he was ultimately given the opportunity to go coach in Ligue 1. He was a head coach in a top 5 league in the world at Nice. And at Nice, he did well. He started well. He had some positive results, but ultimately he was recently sacked in December for getting bounced from the Europa League. The team was ready to move on from him. But ultimately it wasn't a bad stint for him. But I don't know who would currently be trying to bring him on board in France. I don't know that there's any hot rumors. So it makes a lot of sense. Like you mentioned, Tom Glick, right? He's got the connection there. Tom Glick was the president at NYCFC when Vieira was hired to be the head coach. I personally really like Vieira for some of those reasons. And he fits the mold of being young and ambitious, right? He's 44 years old. And he also has a lot of connections in world soccer, like you mentioned, Arsenal, Juve, Milan, and in France. Right now, he's familiar with that player pool. There's a lot of MLS teams that are digging into French teams right now to try and find some market inefficiencies due to the financial crisis in France soccer. There's some big problems over there. Lots of teams in debt. They just had a $3.5 billion media deal that fell through. So there are some French players that are out there available on the transfer market. And having Vieira, who's familiar with those players, would be a positive thing to potentially recruit them to Charlotte as well.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously with the Super League and all that, we kind of saw that there's a lot of clubs out there, right, that are kind of struggling, I guess, for money at this point, whether bad business deals or the pandemic or whatnot. But yeah, France seems to be taking a pretty big hit. So, I'm not against him since he's an Arsenal player or ex-Arsenal player, but again, we talked offline, and my thing is, like, I would think, able to deal with a sporting director of sorts, right, being Zoran and co, and then also having a little bit of MLS experience would be my preference for sure.
Well, and the question really for Vieira is, would he even be open to a move back to MLS, right? Like, is MLS just in his rear view, or is he still looking to get back into a top 5 league? Does he want to come back to America, or does he want to stay in France, right? It's a really serious thing there to make that move back from Europe to the States. And, he was in New York City. Charlotte is not New York City. So is it a big enough market? Is that the right fit for him? Don't know. But if he can't find that right gig in Europe, he may want to come back to MLS and have a project to really, take a team and build a foundation and put his imprints on that.
That's right.
Do we know what the average salary for MLS coaches, manager?
I honestly don't know.
I was just wondering, I was like, I don't know how much they pay, and it's, money talks.
Actually,
we might not be the best, but gosh, Tepper's got plenty of it. So
I actually looked that up before this. I think it's roughly 300 to 400,000. So Henri was the highest in history, I think, at 5 million average salary. So I don't think we're getting close to that, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the club's going to surprise us in some part here moving up to January. So
saving money on that turf, man. Throw it towards the coach.
That's it. Put an extra concert in there. We're good to go.
That's right.
Yep. So I'm going to butcher this next name, right? So Vaughn, I'm just going to let you lead off. It's Serbian contacts is what is my thing here.
Yeah, I may butcher it as well, but it's Veljko Paunovic.
There you go.
Veljko Paunovic was head coach for the Chicago Fire for 4 seasons from 2015 to 2019. So he didn't leave too long ago, actually. Not a great record there. 48 wins, 37 draws, and 64 losses. So not a winning record there, but he wasn't working with a lot. It was a very, very top-heavy roster. They had Bastian Schweinsteiger. He definitely took some heat for moving Bastian Schweinsteiger further and further back over time in how he implemented him on the field. So that was maybe one thing. But the highlight for Veljko Paunovic was his time with the Serbian youth national teams. He took the same group of players from the U18 to the U19 to the U20 level, took those players off to the 2015 FIFA U20 World Cup and won the darn thing. He won beating Brazil in the 2015 U20 World Cup. By far the peak of his career. And he's still only 43. He fits the bill of being a young coach. He's Serbian, which is a tie to Zoran Krneta, shared nationality. So that's one thing to highlight. And most recently, he is showing that he's ambitious. He made the move to the English Championship, where he's been at Reading. Yeah, and Reading's done. Yeah, they started really, really well. I think they won 7 of their first 8 matches or something like that, and really tailed off. They ultimately missed out on the promotion playoffs, finishing in 7th with a really bad stretch of games leading up to the playoffs. So he had positive things happening and a more clear identity. That was probably the biggest issue in Chicago for Veljko was his inability to establish a clear style. I talked earlier about fluidity of tactics. Velko would fit that bill to a T. He was not afraid to be pragmatic. He was not afraid to adjust his tactics to match the opponent. But for Chicago, it ultimately led to them lacking a clear identity and lacking consistent results. But I think that more was due to circumstance. I think if he was given a different scenario, a different situation, he could thrive. We saw what he was able to build over time when given that time with the Serbian national team. Obviously, a youth national team is different than a club atmosphere. But I think that if he can take some of that, translate it over, learn from his past experience at Chicago and his recent success at Reading, that would be a good thing. And there's been some rumors that he might not stick around at Reading, like they may be trying to make a transition away from him. He wants to stay there. He's expressed that he wants to stay there. So once again, it's another one of those situations where he could make the jump to MLS to try and take on a project. And I see Top Bin 90 mentioned that he coached Bronico. Yeah, Brant Bronico had his best results playing underneath Velko Paunovic by far. So that is another connection to Charlotte that would be very interesting to see. That's probably the biggest notes on Velko Paunovic. If he came here, he would most likely be exploiting something like a 4-2-3-1, which is a very popular formation in MLS right now. And doing some sort of iteration off of that.
Yeah. So a scale from 1 to 10, what do you think?
Of these four, he's probably the one I would want the least.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be shocked to see him brought in.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So that's that guy, right? Because I'm gonna screw his name up. So
Velko Paunovic.
Just ignore the J.
Paunovic.
Velko.
All right. So third up, this one, Marcelo. Yeah. I know a lot of people were wanting this fella to come into Charlotte. So come on, comments. Let's go. Look at him.
Who would not want Marcelo Gallardo?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a 45-year-old Argentine. It's totally a pipe dream. But there's maybe a little. The reason I've got him on this list is that he has been linked to MLS teams. He has been rumored to MLS teams, expansion teams, for Miami, and he's been rumored to Atlanta at one point. He is arguably, and I don't know that there's much of an argument to it, the best coach in the Americas. He does have MLS connections from his time playing as a designated player for the DC United back in 2008. I mean, he would be a fantastic signing. He's been at River Plate. He's won absolutely everything there. He's got a Copa Sudamericana. He's got 2 Copa Libertadores. He's got 3 Copas Argentinos. Just to name a few of the big ones. I think he's got 11 trophies under his belt over being there since 2014. By far the most decorated River Plate manager. He played under Marcelo Bielsa. He has been talked about by Pep Guardiola as being this amazing coach. Like, I think the quote from Pep Guardiola was, every year they rank the top 3 coaches in the world, and Marcelo Gallardo is never in the conversation, and he should be. Like, Pep Guardiola absolutely loves Gallardo, and he's been rumored to Barcelona. He's been rumored to Real Madrid, like enough so that he had to publicly comment and say, no, I'm staying at River. I'm not going to Barcelona. So Gallardo would be, if Charlotte is serious about coming in and trying to win a title in year one, and if they're trying to have that coach that puts them into that global brand conversation,
yep,
Gallardo's the guy.
That's the guy.
Gallardo would elevate the team immediately into those conversations. No doubt about it. Pity Martinez, who at one point was the, I believe, largest transfer into MLS, played for Atlanta United. He won the South American Player of the Year playing under Gallardo at River Plate. I mean, absolutely got the most out of the guy. I could not say enough about Gallardo. He also would fit the mold of Argentine coaches that are trying to ply their trade in MLS. We've got Matias Almeida, Gabriel Heinze, and Hernan Losada. They're all current coaches that are Argentines in the league. And most recently, we also had Guillermo Barros Schelotto and, of course, Tata Martino. So if he wants to follow that path of using MLS as a stepping stone, if he says, hey, I don't have the right fit, there's not the club that I want to go to yet in Europe, he may say, hey, let me follow the path of these guys like Matias Almeida and of course Tata Martino, come over to MLS, show off my skills, elevate an expansion team to being a champion real quickly, and now I'm going to springboard that into a European success. He will end up in Europe, undoubtedly. Most likely La Liga. It's just a matter of time. I think the saying is it's a when, not if for Gallardo. But yeah, he's my pipe dream guy, but you could not go wrong if you hired Gallardo.
Yeah, I've like you said, you hit all the big points, right? I think he would be a solid signing for sure. I think a Latino community for sure would be really hyped about it, and I don't know.
His style of play is also very tactically fluid. That's what's amazing, is that he's been able to go into these cup competitions and he wins all of them because he gets his team to buy into playing the style of the day, right? He would be Bielsa ball to a T. He is a tactician. He fits the mold of being able to take less and make it into more, undoubtedly. And yes, I see one of the comments is, but he wouldn't stay long. No, he would not stay long. He would be a 1 or 2 year, establish a locker room, establish an identity, establish a mentality and a toughness to this Charlotte FC organization. That would be his contribution to Charlotte FC lore.
Yeah, and I mean, top end comments, right? Doesn't matter if he stays long. We want to win, obviously, right? The end goal is to lift that cup. And
same thing happened with Atlanta. I mean, that coach only stuck around for a couple of years, and I mean, I'd love for that,
Hey, Vaughn, I just want to say you are dropping knowledge. I mean, pronouncing the names and everything, like, because I'm the newbie fan of the group, and man, your shit.
I say it convincingly.
Yes, you say it well, and you are definitely an MLS ace. So yeah, thanks again, man, because you know a lot, and I appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah, the last one we want to talk about is John Hackworth. Now this seems more realistic to me, and maybe my pick the more I read about this guy. Right, he's MLS experience, the U.S. men's national team youth. Some whatever reason just randomly quit his current position in Louisville, right? His son plays college in North Carolina. He's got ties to Wake Forest. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, right? And his record's actually not too bad either for where he's been. So, Vaughn, drop that knowledge, man.
Yeah, John Hackworth. When he was first let go by Louisville, I think one of my hottest tweets that I've had was my response saying, hey, I wouldn't be shocked if this was Charlotte FC related. Because, the circumstances of him being let go from Louisville City were really, really odd, really weird situation. He and the team, they mutually terminated his contract, and he coached the team through the preseason. He coached them through a week 1 win, and then it was just like, boom, he's gone. He's gone. And nobody's saying anything. So this is a coach that won a USL championship with Louisville City. He took them back to the championship the next season. And the circumstances of him leaving are kind of mysterious. He left Louisville City. These are the stats. He's got 48 wins, 14 draws, and 16 losses. He's a winner, right? He fits the style. And I actually took one quote that was actually in his when he was interviewed upon being hired at Louisville. This was the quote that I found, which was, I think, when he was talking about his philosophy as a coach. I think it's an aggressive attacking style on both sides of the ball. I like to press. I like to make sure that our team is really tuned in transition moments in the game. And I want to be a hard working team, but I also want to play an attractive style. I like the ball on the ground more than it's in the air. So you can hear some really common themes there
Yeah.
versus what the club has expressed wanting to see and what John Hackworth's philosophy as a coach is. He fits it to a T. And yeah, he wouldn't be the splashy signing, but he would be the guy that you'd bring in for a long term. You'd bring him in for a 4 to 5 year project to say, build it. Please come in, establish a clear locker room mentality. And that was his brightest thing, right? He has MLS head coaching experience, and he also worked for an MLS expansion team. He was an assistant coach for the Philadelphia Union during their expansion season under Peter Nowak. And ultimately, once Nowak was let go, he stepped in as the head coach to some mixed results. But once again, a very challenging situation. A young team that did not start off on the right foot. They were burdened by some really, really rough contracts. For example, Freddie Adu was on the books as a designated player,
right,
well past his effective years in MLS. And so he did the most there, but he really did turn around the locker room. That was what so many people in U.S. soccer circles talked about when Hackworth left, was what he did to turn that locker room around. And he was let go, not under like rough circumstances. It was more like, we just need another guy in here to take us and elevate us to the next level, which is when they brought in Jim Curtin, who has done just that, year-on-year growth up to being a Supporters Shield champion now. So yeah, also you highlighted his youth national team experience. He has been pretty much everywhere within the U.S. Development Academy. He basically built the Development Academy in Bradenton. That was his primary task at one point for U.S. soccer. And he's been all over the place, coaching 2 stints with the U17s. He's been with the U15s. He's worked under Bob Bradley. He was, assigned to roles with U.S. soccer by Jurgen Klinsmann, who we talked about earlier. He is very well respected as a developmental coach. He would fit that ability to help us establish an academy, bring players up through it. He's very, very well versed in the U.S. player pool because of his time working with the youth system. He would be a slam dunk in those regards. I mean, seriously, the U17 teams, he worked with Serginho Dest. He coached Josh Sargent, Timothy Weah. He really has the chops, even though he's not a Marcelo Gallardo or Patrick Vieira. I think if he was just given another opportunity in MLS and brought in a situation where, yeah, you're with an expansion team, your task is to build, your task is to create, your task is to form another academy, your task is to establish that foundation for a team. I think he'd be a great fit for it.
Yeah, he's in our list, at least, he would be my number 1 pick. I just find it odd that he just up and quit like that. So, we'll see. So some of the questions are like, are we planning on getting like a coach before signings? My guess, if I was to, as a betting man, I would say we're probably the next thing that gets announced would be a manager of sorts, right? And then work with Zoran.
Well, the team has talked about, trying to bring in a coach in the summer. For a long time, they've highlighted the summer. Yeah. They said that they wanted to wait possibly until the end of May so that some of the coaches that are wrapping up their seasons in Europe and in the Americas, some of those coaches may be available. I don't know for sure. We didn't highlight a lot of coaches that are in Europe, currently signed. Paunovic is wrapping up his season. Gallardo is in the middle of their off season as well. So those are guys that could be brought in. But I think the real key here is that the team has expressed that they want a coach in place for 2 full transfer windows. The MLS transfer window, the summer transfer window, opens July 7th and goes through August 5th. So not a very large window. So it makes a lot of sense for the team to try and get somebody in place the 1st of June, maybe at latest mid-June, to give them 2 to 4 weeks of time to be involved in that player selection. I would be shocked if the club did not announce a coach in the next 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, from talking with Nick and those guys, right? I mean, it sounds like they're shooting for the middle of June. What does that mean, right? It could be 2 weeks either way, right? But yeah, definitely before that transfer window, I think is definitely going to be the target.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, exciting times ahead. It's going to get busy. That's for sure. It's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of news coming in. So,
Good though. We have more discussions.
yeah, for sure. So, a couple of things, guys. If you haven't already, hit the hashtag for the crown in the chat if you want to be put into this hashtag for the crown in the chat, so you can get entered in to this giveaway. It's an amazing giveaway. So
Amazing.
it's so amazing. Y'all gonna love
I don't know what it is, but I'm telling you right now, people, it is amazing.
it. A night at JT's house.
In the garage, even.
That's
You can
right.
come hang out in my garage with me.
Yeah. So
People would start retracting their submissions. That's all right. That's all right. Not for the crown.
that's it. So, yeah, if you guys out there in the comments have anything to say, I'll give you guys a couple of more minutes to hit for the crown, and then we'll try this giveaway, see how it works. If you haven't already, do us a favor, hit the sub button for us, man. We appreciate that too. And all right, entries are coming in. So 1 second while we do this.
So exciting.
I know, so exciting.
I'm curious what it is too, because seriously, I have no idea what you're giving away.
I'm about to show you.
You're not giving away my stuff, are you?
No.
Not my stuff. Okay, that's good. Vaughn, where are you located?
Right now I'm in Plaza Midwood area, but I've been in Matthews
you're
area.
Charlotte proper. Okay, cool.
All right, so let's try to do this giveaway, see what happens. For the crown, folks.
Oh man, look at that! I like it. And the winner is slowing down to
Victor
Chavez. Congratulations, Victor.
That's right, Victor, man. Get with me. You can send me a message via Twitter or whatever, man. We got this Charlotte FC scarf for you.
That's the nice one. That I was in Dick's the other day, and they have another one design out there, from whoever made it, and it's just like it looks. I mean, it's fine if anyone has one of these out there, but it really does doesn't have the detail, and it looks like your grandmother truly made it, which is nice, I guess. But it's like a real true knitted. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. So we're going to try to draw again. Michael has informed us that he is going to give a Southbound and Crown.
Show the back. Show the back with the Danny McBride hair. You gotta untack that thing.
Yeah.
This is what I love so much about it. The summer scarf, which is definitely a good thing to have. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
Cool.
So
that's it.
What's it say? What's the first part say?
we play real sports.
We play real sports. Oh, great.
Yeah.
It's his he was mocking the vice or the principal of the school.
Right.
I don't exercise. I play real sports. So about the only quote we could use that's family friendly.
All right. So we're gonna do this draw real quick and see who gets the
You just want to play with the little software you got to do that. That's fun.
Yeah.
Figured you'd like that.
All right, here we go. Thank you, Mr. Michael. And the winner of the summer Southbound and Crown scarf is what? Us? How are we in it? You can't.
I already gave you one.
Yeah, no.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
No.
How are we even entered in this?
Because I put when I was explaining to type the
Right.
Yeah, it is pretty dumb, right? So we're
Damn it, folks! The fix is not in. I swear, it's not in.
I really wanted a scarf.
I know. All right, one more time. And the winner is, if it hits us again, then we definitely know it.
I see my wife in there. She better not get it.
Chris Church.
Yeah, Chris.
That's a member of our group. I'll be delivering it this weekend, I guess.
There you go. Rigged. That's funny, Sam.
Worked out for me, I guess.
Merch for everybody. Oh, great.
Guys, we're closing in on that hour, so we hate to take any more time. But like we said, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Follow us on all those socials, right? And we'll I guess we'll call it a night and see if coming soon we have some managers, man.
Yeah, I think we're gonna know real soon.
Yeah. So Vaughn, Michael, appreciate you guys. And,
Yes, thank you again so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Evening.
Look forward to seeing y'all out there.
Right on.
Oh, that's a nice little graphic.